Mount Everest and the latest horrifying discoveries that have scientists in a frenzy. Mount Everest, the world's highest peak, has long been a beacon for adventurers and mountaineers. Towering at 8,848.86 meters, 29,031.7 feet, above sea level, Everest sits at the border of Nepal and Tibet in the Himalayan range. While the mountain's staggering height and allure have fascinated explorers for decades, its secrets continue to astonish scientists and researchers. In recent years, Mount Everest has unveiled chilling discoveries that have ignited discussions in the scientific community, raising concerns about climate change, human impact, and the fragility of our planet's ecosystems. From the melting of ancient ice revealing frozen bodies and pathogens to unprecedented environmental degradation, these findings are not only horrifying but also crucial in understanding the far-reaching consequences of human activity and global warming. One of the most startling revelations in recent years is the increasing visibility of climbers' remains on Mount Everest due to melting glaciers. The mountain, often referred to as the roof of the world, has served as the final resting place for over 300 climbers since attempts to summit began in the early 20th century. These bodies, once preserved in ice, are now being uncovered as global temperatures rise. The melting of the Khumbu Glacier and other ice formations on Everest has exposed many long-lost climbers. Among these are bodies still clad in their climbing gear, frozen in time. These discoveries serve as a sobering reminder of the dangers of high-altitude mountaineering but also pose logistical and ethical challenges for removal and preservation. For scientists, these frozen remains offer a macabre but valuable resource. Studying the preserved tissues can provide insights into the physiological effects of high-altitude exposure, hypoxia, and frostbite. However, the growing number of exposed bodies underscores the rapid retreat of glaciers, a phenomenon linked directly to global warming. The ice on Mount Everest acts as a time capsule, preserving not just bodies but also ancient microorganisms and pathogens. With glaciers melting at an alarming rate, scientists have expressed concerns about the potential release of these ancient microbes into the environment. Recent studies on high-altitude glaciers have discovered viruses and bacteria that have been dormant for thousands of years. Some of these microbes are completely unknown to modern science, raising concerns about their potential impact on ecosystems and human health if released. The melting ice on Everest and other Himalayan glaciers could inadvertently reintroduce ancient diseases for which humans have no immunity. The accelerated melting caused by global warming has amplified the urgency of studying these microorganisms. While some may be harmless, others could pose significant risks, especially as human activity increases in previously isolated areas like the Everest region. The upper reaches of Mount Everest, particularly above 8,000 meters, 26,247 feet, are known as the death zone due to the extreme conditions that make survival nearly impossible. Recent research has shed light on how the death zone affects both human physiology and the mountain itself. Scientists have conducted studies on climbers to understand how oxygen deprivation impacts the human body. Findings have revealed that prolonged exposure to low oxygen levels can cause irreversible damage to the brain and other vital organs. Climbers often experience hallucinations, memory loss, and impaired judgment, leading to deadly mistakes. The death zone is not immune to human impact. Discarded oxygen canisters, tents, and other debris litter the area, creating an environmental crisis even in one of the planet's most remote locations. The presence of waste in the death zone is a stark indicator of how human activity is encroaching on even the most inhospitable environments. Mount Everest, despite its remote location, has not escaped the scourge of plastic pollution. Recent expeditions have uncovered shocking amounts of microplastics and larger debris on the mountain, challenging the perception of Everest as a pristine wilderness. A groundbreaking study in 2020 revealed that microplastics have been found in the snow samples collected near the summit of Everest. These tiny plastic particles likely originate from climbers' clothing and equipment. The discovery highlights how human activity contributes to pollution even in the most isolated places. Efforts to clean up Mount Everest have intensified in recent years, with expeditions focused on removing tons of waste left by climbers. However, the persistence of microplastics in the snow and ice raises questions about the long-term impact of human activity on Everest's fragile ecosystem. The glaciers on Mount Everest and throughout the Himalayas are retreating at an unprecedented rate. These glaciers are not only a vital source of water for millions of people but also play a crucial role in regulating the planet's climate. The Himalayan glaciers, including those on Everest, feed into major rivers such as the Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Yangtze. The rapid melting of these glaciers threatens to disrupt water supplies for billions of people in South Asia. Scientists warn that this could lead to severe water shortages, affecting agriculture, drinking water, and hydropower generation. The retreat of glaciers also increases the risk of avalanches and glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs. As ice melts, it forms lakes that can suddenly burst their banks, sending torrents of water downstream. These events are becoming more frequent and pose a significant threat to communities living in the Himalayan foothills. Mount Everest is part of the tectonically active Himalayan range, formed by the collision of the Indian and Eurasian plates. Recent research has revealed that climate change and human activity are contributing to increased geological instability in the region. The melting of glaciers weakens the structural integrity of the mountain, making it more prone to rockfalls and landslides. Scientists have observed a rise in these events, which not only endanger climbers but also have broader implications for the stability of the region. Some researchers speculate that the redistribution of water due to melting glaciers could influence seismic activity. The reduction in ice mass may alter stress levels on tectonic plates, potentially triggering earthquakes in the region. As a natural laboratory, Mount Everest provides invaluable insights into the effects of climate change. Scientists studying the mountain have identified it as a canary in the coal mine for understanding how global warming impacts high-altitude ecosystems. One of the most ambitious scientific endeavors on Everest is the Ice Core project, which involves extracting samples of ancient ice to study historical climate patterns. These cores provide a record of atmospheric conditions going back thousands of years, offering crucial data on how human activity has influenced the planet's climate. Mount Everest is also a key site for monitoring atmospheric pollution. Researchers have detected high levels of black carbon and other pollutants in the snow, transported by wind currents from distant industrial regions. These findings illustrate the global reach of pollution and its impact on remote ecosystems. Mount Everest is not just a physical landmark but also a cultural and spiritual icon for the people of Nepal and Tibet. The mountain, known as Sagarmatha in Nepali and Komolungma in Tibetan, holds deep significance for local communities. The environmental degradation and increasing human activity on Everest threaten sacred sites and traditions. Monasteries and shrines near the mountain have raised concerns about the impact of tourism and mountaineering on their spiritual heritage. Indigenous knowledge and traditions offer valuable insights into sustainable practices for preserving Everest's environment. Collaborating with local communities is crucial for addressing the challenges posed by climate change and human impact. Mount Everest, the majestic giant that has captivated humanity for centuries, is revealing some of its darkest secrets. From melting glaciers exposing ancient bodies and pathogens to the growing plastic pollution and the destabilizing effects of climate change, the mountain stands as a stark reminder of the far-reaching consequences of human activity. These horrifying discoveries have scientists in a frenzy, not just for what they reveal about Everest but for what they signify about the planet as a whole. As the highest point on Earth, Everest is both a symbol of human achievement and a cautionary tale. Its challenges are not confined to the brave souls who dare to climb it but extend to all of humanity, urging us to take immediate action to protect our planet's fragile ecosystems. The question now is whether we can rise to the challenge and preserve the world's most iconic peak for future generations.